Now I finally got the Rolling Vengeance ready for paint, and as my usual luck, yesterday torrential rain, today gale force winds. So lucky I'm doing most of it by hand painting, but I still want to try and spray a bit of primer. So not good. I made some exhausts up, I made some straight pipes. It's supposed to have these ones which sort of come up, bend out at all different angles. And the thing is, to bend plastic pipe, metal pipe's not easy when it's small, and to be a tube. So the straight pipes was a cheat, a bit of a artistic license, but they look good, and I'm happy with them. Now, oh yeah, there was one other thing. I made up designed some little simple door handles. They're welded on. They look quite scouring to what they've got on the film. I know there's some things on, some things off. So we've got to strip it all down and make sure we don't lose the screws and start the paint. So first part is, I think, like I said, primer, and then we're going to hand paint it with Tamiya matte black as a base colour. Well, I managed to hand paint it black, then I've gone over the airbrush to get to areas I couldn't get to, so I'm quite pleased with that. And now we're going to go for, as it shows in the picture, a sort of it's mainly blue. This is a sort of a base blue colour. So I'm going to dry brush it up to the colour I want, and Daniel, I got him to pick out the blues I had, and this is the nearest out of the blues I've got. So we're using Macragge blue from Citadel. So now it's going to be hours of dry brushing on the main body, and then hopefully the silver, I'm mixing up a new silver, trying to get the old paint to work in with it, and because I can't get mithril silver anymore. So if I keep mixing that, the old paint will break up and it will sort of be almost that. That's what I've been doing lately, but everything else is now sort of in a base black to dry brush up to the colours I want. But it is a long process, so let's get on with it. Well, I've been getting on with the base dry brushing. It's had a heavy first coat, but it's a too strong a blue. So what I'm going to do is try and mix a lighter blue and well, more white than blue, and go over it to sort of make it pale. It's got to be much paler. I've been working on and testing the fuel with the gas tanks for the flames. They've been dry brushed up. They're looking quite good, and the pipes up. The exhaust stack and the front section all sort of done a silvery colour. I know it's not as bright in the film, but I think I like things to look nice as well. So back to the dry brushing and see what we can do. I've kept going and it's starting to get to a better blue. It's building up. It takes time, but it'll be almost a perfect blue to distress afterwards, but it still should have the darkness showing through. But you just got to keep at it and until you're happy. Like I said, it does take a lot to get a full finish, but sort of shaded, and then we've got to change it a colour again. Like I said, it's an ongoing thing, this will be, the paint, but I like doing it this way, and it's a slow process. It kills the brush is looking rather knackered, but you don't get brush marks or anything building the paint up this way. Well, I've got the blue nearer to how it needs to be, but it's too bright now, if that makes sense. I've got to dull it down to make it look like it's more weather worn. So I'm going to try a very light grey dry brushing over the blue to try and see what I can get, and then try and fake off some panels where they're different colours. That might work as well for a bit more patination, we'll see. but a long way to go to get it to the stage for doing sort of stains and dirt. Now I've been hitting it with grey. It looks bluer to you than what it does on camera than in real life. Been hitting some brown on the side, just starting to sort of put a bit of dirt down the side, just with a very dry brush. Well, not too dry. But if you get a bit too heavy and you think, oh, just give it a rub with your fingers and then wash your hands every so often, it's not too bad. But I can see from the camera what it's going to look on that. It needs more on the roof, a lot more, because that would be the most sort of sun weathered area. And I've been using a grey I found, Ulefan Grey, and I'm using some Mornfang Brown to do the mudding at the moment. I've still got to spray it. I've got I did buy this, and you supposedly can just put it straight in your airbrush because it's really thin, and this is a shade called Sheer Afim Sepia. Sorry my pronunciation, but give it simple words and I'll say it. But no, I can see I've got to keep at this a lot more, but it's not bad. The sides are not too bad. It needs a bit of work on these panels here, because these are definitely looking better. Well, I say that, but very slight whitening. I've got like an off panel here. It doesn't really show up to you, typical. And I've done another one there. I can always mask it again and give it a bit more. But it is starting to look more weather-worn. Actually looking through, like I said, through the camera, it does show you where it needs to be lightened there a little bit more, because this looks really light to that. So, or if I don't know, it's just how it's going to go. Now I've been over it and I've gone over with different layers of paint. Now on camera to you it is much lighter than what it is. It's really dark for what I can see. So it's strange, the camera seems to show the blue up better in the light. But for me, how it looks in life is good as it's going to be, because that is not, well, what I did was I tried the sepia and that was a nightmare. Just kept clogging in the airbrush, didn't like, it was really thin, not very good for the job. So I found some old olive drab and I sprayed some of that all over, and I've run out of that, so I went on to a bit of leftover NATO green, and it seemed to, for me, it looks quite good. It's motley, how the real one is. But to get it looking on camera, like I can see, I've got to go so much darker that if for me, it will spoil it. So for what you see and what I see is two different things. But I'm happy with what I've got to. Like I said, because this was sort of mocked up and all that, I'm just going to leave the tanks shinier. They've been lacquered now and they're just drying off. I'm going to work on the exhaust, and I might add some. I've not used it. I'm going to look up how to use it, but there's this stuff. I've got some null oil. It come with a Warhammer magazine. I only brought it for the cheap paints. Being truthful, you know, cheap first part, as you do. And not being funny, that's where this grey come from as well. So I'm going to fit the tanks and all that, and so it goes. Yeah, see, you can see more blue than I can. I can't see the blue through. That's weird. But from my end, it's not looking bad at all. It's good. So let's get these tanks on and see what it looks like with those fitted. There she is. I've got the flames on now. The exhausts are on. The front weapons on with the auger. I don't know if I'm going to do more to the paint. See, the thing is, it's getting it to look right. I think what I'll do is I'll put it outside and see what it looks like outside on the camcorder. See if it looks different in the light, because I am under fluorescence, which, well, LED fluorescence, it could be cause a bit of difference. But But I've got the headlights working, that's one thing good. Not bright like the actual ones in the film. So let's try it outside. Well, we'll have to try filming outside another day. It started raining again today. Sometimes I want to just go outside for a second. Even though it's fairly dry outside now. When I was trying to spray earlier, it rained. There it is outside. Still looks different, but not as bad through the viewfinder. But it's pretty much well done now, the build. So I'm going to take some nice photographs.